My eye opening was, I was like, oh my God, I look and sound like a lunatic.
Me too. Me too. I I filled in a lot of dead space with lunacy. I did.
But at the same time, it was, well, you'll see when I read it to you, but you know, in my case, there were so many financial things that I needed info on, and
Mm-hmm.
just, still to this day. So but it was like bombarding. So when, like one minute I love you, and the next minute, where's the Venmo? It was,
And you know that I think the biggest eye-opening moment for me on YouTube was reading some of the comments, and it was that one gentleman, M. King. We talked about his comments a few times. One of
yeah,
his comments was about consistency and how he said, if you said this one thing to us when we were kids, like, I mean, his situation sounded pretty extreme, but he said, like his mom would say, like, same things like, I hate you, and I wish you were dead. I mean, and then to try to come back from that and say, well, I love you, why don't you want to talk to me anymore? I mean, my heart goes out in those situations because that was a parent at the end of their wits end, right? Just reacting on something that had nothing to do with their kid, but yet so much damage is done with that child. And when I was getting into his comments and going back and forth, I mean, I really took to heart so many things that he said, and that really stuck with me was consistency. And so that's when I was going back through mine, I was surprised that I had the inconsistency that I did, because I thought I was more consistent. And so that stuck with me. It's like, oh, that's exactly what he was talking about. And of course, mine wasn't that extreme, but reading it back is like, when something's in your face like that, it's a little bit harder. And what do you think as far as, encouraging people to do their own timeline? I mean, was this beneficial when you did it?
Yes. Yes.
it
Yeah,
was,
I thought so too.
it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
it,
And
yeah,
I think I was able to see more of my daughter's side a little bit more, and see a side of me too that, yeah, wasn't very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't think I was that controlling, or I didn't think I was pushing or demanding, and I'm like demanding, controlling. I mean, that's the right word. I didn't see it that way.
And so I looked back about what could I have done differently. Absolutely. Um, what would I have not done? Um, and then just noticing a pattern of me reaching out a few times before there's a response from her. Not back, there's not a back and forth thing really until recently. But even then, like I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I have no plans to add to my timeline. I'm not gonna reach out again unless something weighs heavily on my heart. Then I'll put Lisa on my timeline and consult with her. What do I do? No.
And I think that's important. I think time is important, and then that gives us time for consistency again.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
I'm not
think,
patient.
yeah.
Well, that's
And
hard.
she probably isn't either. But then that way, if there's a touch in again in a few weeks, a few months, a few years, we don't know.
Yeah, we
There's
don't.
there's the opportunity for that consistency again.
Hmm.
Right now she doesn't trust it. There's no way she trusts it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think is going to be important, and after Cheryl, maybe we'll come back to this. I think what's going to be so important for us to own and acknowledge, and for everybody listening who's probably going to be parents, that recognizing that all that stuff we did in the beginning was really about control, and just we couldn't let go, to
Hmm.
let them become who they need to become. I mean, because we're just so encased in this parental role, and that's what we did for their whole lives. And so just recognizing that it's time to let go, was the hardest part. It was just that's what it was
And
was
at
letting
some
go.
at one point when I was talking to you, Lisa, there was something came up about loss for me, and you encouraged me to think about loss and all the losses in my life. And that really helped me because I've thought about a lot of loss, and it's just been things from when I was a kid and we moved. And then when I was a teenager, we moved. So there were big points in my life that I lost all those friends and whatever else I had. And then I've had miscarriages. So all these losses that involve people, and then this estrangement, I mean, that's the most significant loss. And there's just that panic sets in about like, and you want to control it and you can't. Yeah. Yeah. That was very helpful for me to look at losses. So I've got a lot more work to do. Yeah. But I really feel like I'm in a much better place.
But think about an even loss and taken away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like how many things in our lifetime were taken away from us. Missed opportunities, missed investment deals. I mean, just it's everywhere that we feel we lost something on. I mean, that is such a big wound. And now this opened all of that up. And so we just think, okay, if the kid just comes back, then we don't have to feel any of this. But that's what we're feeling. It's so beyond the estrangement.
Yeah. Yeah. I was able to make a connection and know where that came from and know why I reacted like I did. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just in a much different place.